I messed up. All right, I'll admit it. I'll be the first to admit it. I messed up. I've made mistakes on this channel. I've screwed up. And my goal today is to address some of those mistakes that I've made, some of the problems that I've caused, some of the issues that I've had. Now, I know what you're going to say. The most common criticism that I get on this channel is, Damian, you're just way too sexy. My wife saw a video of you, and now all she does is compares me to you. I'm sorry, there's nothing I can do about that. I've dealt with that my whole life. It's the cross that I bear. But what I am going to do today is address 5 of the biggest mistakes that I've made in previous videos. Some of them are safety issues. Some of them are me being a naive new woodworker, and I've learned and corrected my mistakes since then. And number 5 is just a stupid bonehead mistake that as soon as somebody pointed it out to me, I went, oh my God, you are the biggest stupid in the world, and you should and you need to stick it and then just and then maybe pull your and try again. So that's what I'm here to do today. I'm here to correct the record on things that you've pointed out that I've messed up on in some of my previous videos. Okay, so let's address number 1. This is a safety issue that I was naive at the time. It was one of the first videos that I ever put out, and somebody pointed it out to me, and I'm glad they did. It was in my video, how to resaw with a table saw. Now, the typical way and the preferred way to resaw a board to reduce the thickness is to use a bandsaw. That's the way that you typically see. I don't have a bandsaw, but I do have a table saw. And before I made this video, I looked at a lot of different videos to get an idea of how to do it and how to do it safely. You'll find some people who suggest that resawing on a table saw is a dangerous thing to do, but if we're being perfectly honest, doing anything inside of a shop is a dangerous thing to do. One of our primary goals as woodworkers is to take something that may be dangerous and find the safest way to do it. Overall, I thought that was a good video. Someone observed that it appeared that my hand was very close to the blade. It wasn't, it was just the angle of the camera. But they did observe that this particular plate right here could allow a small sliver of wood to go down in there, bind up, and then kick back and potentially injure somebody. And that's an excellent observation. The easy fix for that is to remove this plate and replace it with a zero clearance plate, which has very little room for anything to fall down inside of it. So that's a quick and easy solution to something that I do feel is a safety issue in that video. All right, number 2. Let's talk about creating inlays. Many of you come to my channel because of my CNC related content, and I appreciate that. This was actually one of the first CNC related videos that I created. And in this video, I show you how to create a simple inlay. It actually ended up being a lot easier than I thought it would be, but there were a couple of comments that raised an excellent point. Now, in this video, if you go back and watch it, you'll notice that I just simply cut out the inside portion, and then I cut out the outside portion at a flat 90-degree angle. Okay. Now, for this particular item, that's not a big deal because it actually works. The problem that you run into is when you get into other types of inlays, maybe things that have more sharp points, the radius of the actual CNC bit will not be able to get right in those corners to create excellent inlays, to create really smooth transitions without little bitty gaps. And that was something that when I created this video, I didn't realize. The preferred way to do it is actually to use a V-bit to cut out the inside and then do the same thing with the outside. Then place it inside of there, glue it in place, and either sand or use some other method, maybe a bandsaw or a CNC to actually cut off everything that's on top and make it flush. So this wasn't a safety issue. This was me being naive and still being a new CNC user. I do plan on doing a follow-up to this video using that technique in the near future. All right, here comes number 3. This one was just kind of a bonehead kind of thing. If you've watched any of my previous videos, one thing that I like to do is I like to make these little coasters. They sell well around my area because I'm a high school teacher and there are a lot of people that have school spirit. So these are actually a great way to do it. Now, this particular coaster, simply a piece of walnut, and I actually did go through the process of doing an inlay, but I used epoxy and just poured epoxy into it. Now, this one actually turned out great. Ignore the fact that there's a sliver cut out of it that it chipped out. That was just kind of a little error, and this was really more of an experiment to see if I could do it. Now, this one I actually did finish with some lacquer, and it's held up very well. So I actually like this one. In my other video, however, which you'll see right here, I actually tried to do a flood coat. And flood coats are a great idea, but somebody pointed out in the comments section, they said, why ruin a piece of walnut with a flood coat? And they were right. So I actually made two mistakes in that video, so this one's a 2 for 1. One, I didn't wait until the flood coat dried to see what it actually looked like. And two, their point that the flood coat actually took away from the quality of a piece of black walnut is an excellent point. I actually ruined that piece of wood. So while this one is pretty good, I actually like this one. This was the actual flood coat. As you can see right here, that once it dried, everything just kind of dripped off the edge. I didn't have it flat. I didn't understand how to do it. And in my eagerness to get a video out, I didn't even wait until this dried before I posted that video. So I couldn't even show what it looked like. I hold on to this as an example of what not to do. Now, again, that was one of my first videos, and I've learned from it, and I try not to do that. I've been very tempted to take that video down, but it's actually, it was at the time a well-performing video, so I chose to leave it. But I do not like flood coats, especially on black walnut, for just that purpose. Okay, so next, here's number 4. If you've watched this video right here, this was a great project that I created to create decorative door hangers for different seasons. I'll probably end up doing some follow-ups to that with different seasons. 4th of July, Flag Day, Groundhog Day, Valentine's Day, whatever. But this one was a Christmas-related video. And I showed you how I actually created that door hanger just simply using 3/4 inch or 1/2 inch MDF board. The problem with that is MDF board soaks up paint like crazy. And at the time, I actually say straightforward in the video that I'm not good at painting. I don't know what I'm doing here, so don't take my advice. Now that part has changed a little bit. I'm getting better at it, but I'm still no master. Now, at least a couple of people pointed out in the comments section, and thank you very much, that there are several solutions to that. And so I tried 3 different methods, and all of them worked pretty well. Number 1, you can actually use just clear lacquer. I tried doing that a little bit. It was okay. Number 2, and actually this is a type of finish and sealer that I really like, and I'm going to continue using this. It's shellac. Shellac is natural. It actually smells nice, so I'm going to use this for a lot more indoor type stuff. Now, I'm not a master on finishes, so don't take a lot of advice from me. I'm just showing you what worked. And number 3, and probably the one that I like best, are 3 coats of satin clear enamel. I found that when I tried it again and just experimented with it, it sealed up the MDF quite nice and made it much easier to paint in the long run. So this one wasn't as much of a screw up as much as it was I knew that I was doing something wrong, and you guys helped me out in the comments section. All right, here's number 5. This one was the dumbest, most bonehead thing that as soon as somebody pointed out, I just said to myself, dear, what in the are you doing? That is the dumbest thing, for crying out loud. And that's this. I created this simple trivet using my CNC. This can easily be created with a scroll saw or a bandsaw. So this is an easy project to do. And I think this is a handy little tool. This has actually become a pretty popular video that I've done. The trivet goes together like this, and it sits like this. Now, even when I was creating it, I put the pan on there, and I noticed that because of the round edges, that pan can slip. So my solution, being an idiot, was to create several different sizes of this trivet so that you would have one for any size pan. Then a very smart and simple commenter said, "Hey, dumbass, why don't you do this instead?" He didn't say dumbass, but that was the subtext.